lost souls getting sucked into help. Yeah. Excuse me. The same building. Faux finishes. So a lot of the research and a lot of the photography was carried out with buildings in their incomplete state. In a way, I found them more interesting when they were incomplete than when they were finished. And what one discovers, of course, and coming from the UK, it is novel, where it's a masonry tradition. What one discovers is that beneath almost every suburban house there's this ubiquitous stud construction with OSB before it gets clad. And I say almost. I make exception for Florida, where the legislation requires that buildings are more made out of cinder block. I'll talk about it in a bit. But what I like about the OSB is there's that sense that it reduces, again, the iconography or the symbolism of the American house into something ubiquitous, if you like, something that has that kind of sameness to it. And what's interesting about it also is that every building within the U.S., almost every building within the U.S., regardless of its standing within the pecking order of suburbia, is like this at one stage. So it's like this underscoring or underlying kind of commonality, this underlying sort of shared quality, a shared value. You know, and that shared value is obviously the faith in the tradition of timber. A full-scale model. And I'm segueing into this, of course, because what that sense of the indiscriminate use of a material, making something out of one material, to me reminds me of the way in which students make models quite often. You make a model, and that model is all made out of chipboard, and it has this reductive effect. It's not representational. In a sense, it's, how would we say, a kind of a reductivist approach to architecture, right? Now, we do it because it's convenient. It's just chipboard. But actually, what we're doing is setting ourselves up for something aesthetically. The accident of making things out of just one material has consequence upon architecture, that we express this sort of muteness. So the full-scale model, for me, so in this building, which is close to the last one, photograph of Grand House up in Cave Creek in Phoenix was an example of a building that's sort of under construction. But again, because it's all in OSB, to me that makes me feel like that it's a model, and yet it's at full scale. So you get this strange transition of the qualities of that building, a bit like a sort of a very noir Michael Graves building, right? You could imagine. But that association for me is quite interesting. And if one thinks of, you know, the models of Palladio, Villa Barbaro,